Quickly, there was one thing I must tell you.
It's as if he hasn't forgotten me. I feel like my heart is being torn in two.
My friends, Nina the Starry Bride is definitely two parts. So episode number 9 was definitely one of two parts. One part is selfishness and one part is love, I guess you could say. And I would say it was one part really good and one part okay. Now, for me, I think the thing I want to talk about the most with this episode is just the fact that Nina's immaturity definitely came through. And she definitely is a character, and as she's has admitted herself several times throughout the anime that she's not all brains, like, you know, and it makes sense, right? She grew up in the slums. She didn't really have an education. She's not really much of a thinker. She's not really much of like an articulate. Like it makes sense, you know, that she has low IQ level of thinking, but it's not of her own fault. And she has gotten a lot better with all the teachings that she has been taught and the time that she spent in the palace and stuff, or, you know, in the Saintis area. So she has gotten brighter in comparison to who she was, but in comparison to, you know, somebody of a similar stature who's had the education, she kind of, you know, the fruit falls a little away from the tree. And that's okay. But this episode definitely showed her immaturity. She had such a strong desire to see Az, which she did, you know, she did end up doing, that she ended up putting him in a pickle a couple of different times. And it was one of those things to where it's like, okay, this is it's very frustrating to watch, but it's very in character for her. And the frustration just ends up being, I kind of want to say like really good writing, but because of the good writing, I feel frustrated with the character. But it's not because I'm frustrated because the bad writing or something crazy. It's because the character's being written in character. And I hope that sentence makes sense, but essentially, like, she's written in a way to where the emotion that the author's trying to get from you is you want to be frustrated with the character. Like, you want to baby shake this character because you're like, what are you doing? What are you not, like, why are you doing this? And it makes sense why she's doing it because, again, she's not the, you know, she's not the brightest plum on the plum tree. She's not the shiniest apple. You know what I mean? Like, it makes sense that she is doing it that way because she's also very immature still. She's very young. She's very immature. She's very inexperienced with love and everything else. So it makes sense on what she's doing. And she's also very confused. She even admitted this episode, and I love that she went through it. She was like, it started with the little baby cub tiger, and she was like, oh, I love you, and I love the maid, and I love my handmaid, and I love the people of 𝐜𝐴𝐽, and I love the people of Fortuna. And then she went to Sett, and she was like, oh, well, when it comes to Sett, he kind of sets my heart ablaze. And I was like, ooh, girl, that's a big sign that she is genuinely in love with Sett. And I thought that was a really cool moment because I think it's kind of her heart pointing her in the right direction. Now, that doesn't discount the fact that she still feels love for Az. It doesn't take away from the fact that Az was still her first crush and love and romantic type experience. It doesn't take away the fact of that. But has her heart moved on, and does it desire something different that isn't Az anymore? And I think part of her immaturity to maturity is going to really be dependent on where she ends up choosing. Does she end up choosing Az because that's where her heart was originally lied, and that was her first experience, and she does love him, you know? Or does she let her heart lead her to where it should go now, which is Sett? And she's admitted she wants to take care of him and wants to hug him and wants to do a lot of things, and he sets her heart ablaze. And he's just a different tyrant than Az, you know, a different beast in a sense. So that's going to be where I am most interested in the show, is seeing where it takes her and us as far as, you know, what's coming next. Now, at the end of the episode, Az made a declaration like, hey, within the next 6 months or years, basically by the time you're supposed to get married, I'm going to get you out of here. So he's made a very clear declaration. We also found declaration. We also found out that he's on a very strict timeline. He was abdicated and given the throne by the king for whatever reason. Basically, he's like, yo, you got a year and I'm killing you, brah. And he has 1 year to kind of make something of himself. And I mean, the king basically gave him a gimme, right? I mean, like the king gave him like a layup. Like, it's easy. Az's gonna crush it, kill it, and probably kill him. So that's his timeline, is like, you know, basically 6 months to a year to conquer 𝐜𝐴LGTA, or conquer Fortuna, and make everything happen that he needs to make happen. So that's what's gonna be the interesting piece, is will he be able to do it? And I think he will. But then for our girl, Nina, the bigger part of it is going to be, what does her heart really want? So the portion of the those are all the really fire part of the episodes. The portion of the episode that was just okay was kind of seeing the runaround, kind of seeing her be kind of lost in confusion, kind of see her keep trying to push the narrative to see the Fortuna people, kind of keep putting him in a pickle. Those are kind of like all the just okay moments that happen in the episode. But those are very minimal in comparison to the really good parts of the episode, which was the majority, I thought, this episode. So overall, I would put this one at about an 8 out of 10. Like I said, there were moments where I was like, it's okay, you know? But I think the bigger part were the moments that were really good. And the most interesting part was basically her admittance to you and me, that, hey, her heart kind of her heart is kind of going towards Sett. And I love that, because I think out of the two, I find more interest in the Sett storyline than I do what she left behind with Az. So, but Az is obviously one of the main characters, so it makes sense. So anyways, Nina the Starry Bride, you know, I know I was kind of all over the place, but just kind of put a button in it. I think it was about an 8 out of 10 episode. There was a little bit of faults in it. I wasn't bored, so that was a good positive point to the episode. I also was able to watch the dub this week, as opposed to, I think last week I had to watch the sub because of just, it didn't come out yet. So that made it a really easy watch for me too. So overall, I really liked the episode. I like what they did. And I am interested to see what happens next. And I'm also interested and can't wait to see Nina's growth, because she definitely does need a little growth, but it's understandable on why that hasn't happened. So let me know your guys' thoughts. Again, sorry for being all over the place. This review kind of sucked in a way. So just, hey, you're here with me, right? So let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. As always, my friends, I appreciate you guys being here. And I'll see you guys next week for episode number 10 of Nina the Starry Bride. Peace out.